Am I live? Cool. This video is about the rotator cuff. You have 4 of them, and I'm Adam Reese, and I help people work out in a way that where they don't feel pain, so that they can be consistent with their training, so they can work out the way they need to push out in their life the way that they want to. And we're going to go over the rotator cuff and go over 4 different tests that you can do to figure out what the culprit of the nag is inside your shoulder. All right, and the rotator cuff really has, well, first of all, if you're having trouble with your shoulder, definitely sign up for a program design session, gritgym.com/program/PDS. Hit the link in the information above and come out here and get your own, and that way we can dig into your individual circumstance. But there's 4 rotator cuff muscles. You have one that internally rotates the shoulder like that. You have 2 that externally rotate the shoulder, and then you have another one that pulls down. All right, and what this does is creates a hug into your shoulder blade, so to stabilize this upper arm bone so that your arm doesn't get ripped off of your body. So it does a couple things. It internally rotates, it externally rotates, and then think if you're carrying your groceries into your house, your arm is going to hold those groceries, and your rotator cuff is holding this bone on there so it doesn't get ripped off your body. It's a very good thing. Same thing if you were to fall and brace yourself, you don't want that upper arm bone shooting out the backside of your shoulder either, right? You want it to be able to hold position so that you keep your shoulder and your joint intact, right? So same thing, if you were doing a bear crawl, you're doing a farmer's walk, you're carrying groceries into your house. This is your rotator cuff. Now, when we get into this, we're going to use these tests, and they're kind of provocative tests. By provocative tests, what I mean there is that the purpose of the test is not to cause damage. It's just to elicit a little bit of the symptom so that we can figure out what might be going on. All right, and the first one is, it works better if you're laying down on your back, but for the purpose of the video, you're going to have your arm out like this, straight up in the air, and you're going to reach across, and you're going to reach towards your other shoulder. Now, if this is causing you pain already, stop. Don't put yourself into more pain. But see how far you can push that hand back beyond your shoulder. Okay, so that's the first one. If that's in pain, stop. Don't keep going. But the next one, we're going to put the hand right on top of the shoulder, and we're going to go up and down. What's going on? We're going to go up and down, and we're going to see, and we're going to test for that impingement. And what an impingement is this space in here between your shoulder blade and I'll use a different color, between the shoulder blade and the upper arm bone. Well, that's not just air, there's muscle, there's tissue in here, and if these start compromising, they're going to start grinding away at that muscle, and you're going to end up in pain, and you're going to have a lot of trouble, right? Well, we don't want that. That's what we're eliciting when we get here. We're going in, and if you feel any pain there, you have an impingement, which is a little bit of an ambiguous term. It can mean a lot of different things, but for the purpose of this, we've got a little bit of a problem. We need to go to work on it. And if you are having trouble with this one, go to the last video that we did in the Shoulder Saver series, or Save the Shoulder series, where we talked, it's video 3, where we talked about thoracic mobility, and that'll help out a lot with the internal and external rotation of your shoulder. These 2 movements that create, one's pulling this way, one's pulling this way, and that's like a hug. You're giving yourself a hug, right? So you have that. All right, so these are provocative tests. The next one that we're going to do is just a full can, and all we're doing is we're putting our hand right beside our pocket, and we're just pointing the thumb up, seeing how that feels, okay? A lot of the time, if you see a big shrug here and you're trying to get there, we probably have a pretty nasty issue going on there, and you probably want to talk to a physical therapist. That doesn't mean that you can't work out. It just means that we have to change how we're going to work out. For instance, there's no real reason to not work out. Even if you do have this, and you have a terrible, even if you don't have a right arm, you still got a left arm, 2 legs, and a core. So we can still do something. But the next test, last one, 4th test, is right here, thumb down in the pocket, and just reaching up and out at 45 degrees, okay? So be a little careful here on this one, but this one is going to be, if you're having trouble here, then it's obviously a rotator cuff issue, and we need to look into this quite a bit deeper. So if you're having trouble with any of those, come into Grit Gym, sign up for a program design session, gritgym.com/PDS, and if you're outside of our scope, I'm not going to try to continue to work. We're going to refer you out to a physical therapist, and your physical therapist should be able to work with your strength coach side by side. And if you're not in Iowa City, we can do a program design session over the internet too, because the technology is pretty great. But go to gritgym.com/PDS to get that. And this is some of the anatomy around your shoulder. Did we get everything that we were going to go over? We don't want to feel pain in any of these spots. You have a certain responsibility to keep your shoulder healthy, because it's not going to do it for itself. So definitely go through these tests. We've got a full can, empty can. You're going to reach across and just press and then you're going to raise the arm up and down. 4 different tests, free rotator cuff to figure out what the culprit might be. Definitely sign up for your program design session by going to gritgym.com/PDS. Thank you for being here. If you know anybody that's having a shoulder issue, please share this video with them. Got it, Nina.